exactly what soap is and how it's made is our very own kitchen scientist, Dan Kohler.
What do you think about this look?
Wait a minute. Wait. If I dressed like that, I wouldn't need soap. You're not going to get dirty.
Yeah,
You've got every...
Okay,
well,
but
Debbie made an observation. What was your observation?
I said it looks like an episode of Breaking Bad.
little bit.
Eyewear.
Little bit. Protective eyewear. We should talk about safety precautions, right?
Okay.
So soap is, as I said earlier, my favorite chemical reaction. It's actually a salt, and a salt is the reaction between an acid and a base. When an acid and a base meet, they create something, and we call that a salt. So soap is actually a salt. Not the kind you'd put on your food.
Is that why it's so drying and you have to put moisturizers in it?
A little bit, but we'll get to that.
The real question is why aren't we dressed like you? Because if it's that dangerous, we're just about as close.
Well, so these safety precautions are all to protect you from something called lye, which is sodium hydroxide. Lye is something you might find at home. It's in Drano, it's in drain cleaners. It's something you can get at a hardware store. And I don't want you to be scared of it, even though I'm totally covered up. It's pretty strong, it can burn you, but it's also a common ingredient. It is in every soap across the globe. There is no soap without lye.
Why is there lye in soap if it's so dangerous?
Because what happens in this chemical reaction is that the lye is completely eaten up. So what we're doing here, first of all, I've taken some lye, and earlier in the day, actually we got some photos of this, earlier in the day I mixed the lye with water. And you can see I'm totally covered up because you do not want this to splash on your skin. Once it's aqueous, once it's mixed in with water, it can really burn you. So to counteract that, I have a spray bottle of vinegar. If you spill lye on yourself, remember this, do not hose it down with water, hose it down with vinegar. You need a chemical to counteract the base.
And is it distilled? Is it white distilled vinegar?
This is just white distilled vinegar
Okay.
because that is an acid. It's a very strong acid, so it counteracts the strong base.
Okay.
So to make soap, it's really simple. You know, when we buy soaps at stores, I think especially anyone who's looking for newer, nicer soaps, we look for labels that say.
Why didn't you look at me when you said
You looked at everyone but me.
I thought you went over me as well.
I skipped a few people. You're in good company.
No, I felt hurt.
We look for products that don't have any parabens. We look for products that are no more sodium lauryl sulfates and all of these things. Well, when you make soap at home, it's just 3 ingredients. It's water, sodium hydroxide, and olive oil. That's it. That's soap. So let me show you how this works. This is my aqueous lye solution that I made earlier in the day.
But how does it smell good then?
Well, we can add some flavoring oils to that. And olive oil has a nice smell. Come on.
Well, I'm Greek. I know, but I don't want to smell like olive oil all day.
It doesn't want to smell like a salad.
Exactly.
Well, how much of that liquid stuff did you put in? Not this.
So my aqueous solution is 80 grams of lye and 195 grams of water.
Can you do that in English for us?
What's
We don't know
not
what it is.
this much
Is it
about
a
that
cup?
much.
Is it a half a cup? Is it...
You got to do it by weight.
stand back.
This is a chemistry lesson. So
All right.
remember my earlier lesson when I said that volume was not an exact measurement when I taught you guys earlier?
Okay.
So grams and weight is actually the best way to measure your ingredients. So right now I'm going to emulsify the acid and the base. So a lot of times we don't think of
Sounds like a motorboat.
it does sound like a motorbike. This is going to become the texture of mayonnaise, basically, pudding.
Woo!
Yeah. Now, after a couple of minutes, it reaches a stage that we call trace. When it reaches trace, you can add flavoring oils. So I add eucalyptus to my soap over here. And already you can see.
When you say flavor, you mean scent.
Scent, yeah, already you can see that's soap. We've just made soap
Liquid
right there.
soap.
Liquid, you're right. Well, liquid soap's a little bit different. This is going to harden. So after this, I'm going to pour it into containers, and that's what I have over here. After it sets up for about a day, you have soap.
Why is that
Yeah.
dark?
Well, that one's got coffee
Olives.
grounds in it for exfoliation and caffeine for your
That's
skin.
nice.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
really nice.
how does soap work? Does anybody know why this is? So the
Yeah,
way
why
soap
does it
works,
work?
the
How does
way
it work
the way
when
it
we
washes things out. Soap is a 2-part sort
Don't need it.
of molecule here. The outside is hydrophilic, which means it attracts water. Now, the inside is lipophilic, which means it attracts fat, which is really interesting. So if you get, let's say you get olive oil all over your hands when you're cooking and you pour soap on it.
Scotty.
Well, olive oil won't just wash off with water. You pour soap, so the soap actually takes the olive oil and it wraps it in something that is attracted to water so that you can just wash the soap right off your hands and it takes the oil off you.
It's working. Look.
It's interesting.
When was soap created?
Soap has a huge history in the world. It really goes back
French?
to like 2800 BC. Soap is something we've been using as a species for millennia.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the way we discovered it is, fascinating. Like I said, we're making an emulsification of fat and a base here, and the base is sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is actually commonly found in wood ash. So after you'd burn a fire, you'd have this really strong, ash, and they were using that to rub things off their hand. And over time, you make pastes with ash and animal fat, and you get soap. It is a
If it
chemical
cleans
reaction.
my hands, it can clean other things.
Well, you've got a lot to clean up, Lawrence.
You can't clean up your act.
Wow. Well, wonderful. And we need soap.
You need soap. You need soap. We need soap to keep clean. I mean, really, according to the CDC, this is one of the #1 things you can do to improve your health and to move countries forward, right? Soap and washing your hands is so important to health.
Wonderful.
It cannot be overstated.
It smells good enough. It smells like a biscotti because that's coffee.
Don't eat it.
Just
Don't eat
saying, it's like,
I hope my boys were watching this segment.
Yeah.
They may be getting ready for
Kai
the
and
next
Avery,
one now.
Kai and Avery, wash up.
For more kitchen science, visit Dan at renegadekitchen.com. Always interesting stuff. Don't let that get hard in there. You're never going to get it out. Well, we are coming back, and the mess is going to get cleaned up. There's a mess on this counter. Debbie and Lawrence.
Well, after you clean your kids, it's time to get them dressed for back to school. Some
We're
fun,
doing it, yeah.
fashionable, and affordable back to school fashions. What? It's nice, right?